Hello everybody. I hope all of you attended the His Holiness teaching in the last week. Before we start the actual class, first everybody generate pure motivation to study the middle way text. Mainly achieving Buddhahood to benefit all sentient beings. In order to achieve Buddhahood, we need to practice two bodhicittas, the conventional and ultimate bodhicitta. In order to practice these two bodhicittas, we need to know how to practice the path, how to practice the true bodhicittas. Therefore, everybody think, today I'm going to study entering the middle way to practice the true bodhicitta or becoming Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Please visualize all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, particularly visualize Buddha Shakyamuni. Below the Buddha Shakyamuni, please visualize Maitreya Buddha and Manjushri. Below the Manjushri, please visualize Nagarjuna, Chandrakirti, Aryadeva, Buddha Palita, and all the lineage master of the Madhyamaka teaching. First, please do 3-time prostration to the field of merit. Particularly, supplicate to Buddha Shakyamuni, Nagarjuna, and Master Chandrakirti. So please everybody open the entering the middle way. The first chapter, the perfect joy. Entering the middle way, I pay homage to the gentle Lord Manjushri. Sarvakas and middle-level Buddhas arise from Suryajan sages. Buddhas are born from Bodhisattvas. The compassionate mind and non-dual cognition, as well the awakening mind, these are causes for Bodhisattva. The compassion alone is accepted to be the seeds for perfect harvest of the Buddhahood. The water that nurtures it and the fruit that is long a source of enjoyment. I will praise compassion at the start of all. First, with the thoughts I am, they cling to ourselves. Then with the thoughts mine, they became attached to the things. like the buckets on a water wheel that turn without controlling. I bow to compassion, the cares for such a suffering beings. Please everybody visualize all sentient beings, cultivate great compassion towards them. With the knowing all sentient beings are in samsara like the buckets, water buckets on the wheel. Remember the 6 analogies and cultivate great compassion towards all sentient beings. Next, beings are like reflection of the moon in the repelling water. Seeing them as floating and the devoid of intrinsic nature, the Bodhisattva's mind falls under compassion's sway, yearning to set free every transmigrating beings. Thought intense dedication with the Samantha Bhadra's prayers. He abides in the perfect joy. This is called the fast ground. From that point on, having attained this ground, he is held by the name Bodhisattva alone. He is born into the lineage of the Tathagata as well. He has utterly approached 3 bonding factors, such as Bodhisattvas uphold step of supreme joy, and has the power to shake the 100 walls. Stepping on from one ground to another, he travels perfectly to the higher ones. At that point, the path to all lower realms are blocked for him. At the point, all the groans of the ordinary person cease for him. He is described clearly in terms akin to the 8th Arya. Even when abiding on the first ground of the mind for full awakening, he surpasses those born from sage's speech and the Pratika Buddhas. Through the power of his merit, and his merit increased evermore. When at gone affair, he will alone surprise them by his intelligence. At this point, the first cause for full awakening, the perfection of generosity, will become permanent, committed to giving away even his very flesh. Giving become a sign to the inferior, his unseen quality. All living beings eagerly yearning for happiness. Yet, for the humans, there's no happiness without resources. Material resources, in turn, come about from generosity. Knowing this, the Buddha spoke on generosity first. Those with the weak compassion and the ruthless minds who seek their own welfare with enthusiasm, even for them, the wealth they desire will come. From generosity, of course, they relieve suffering. Indeed, it is through the practice of generosity that he will swiftly, at some point, meet the Aryas. He will then cut clean the continuum of sacred existence, and as a result, he will journey to the state of peace. Those who keep in mind their pledge to the helping sentient beings, without much delay, attain joy through their generosity, since it for both the compassion and the one who is not. This discourse on generosity is primary. If simply hearing or thinking of the phrase, "give me," brings such a joy to the children of the conquerors, joy not experienced even by the Arhat who had entered to the peace. What need is there to speak of the joy when giving away everything? Cutting his body and giving it away, he sees from his own pain the pain of the other, such as the bird in the hell. As if he were undergoing this situation himself, thus swiftly he stepped to cut away all their pain. Generosity, devoid of gift, receiver, and giver, is called a superabundant perfections. But when attachment of these three arises, it is then said to be the maintenance perfection, abiding perfect joy in the Bodhisattva's mind, and endowed with a light beautifying the sublime one. This ground of perfect joy is the water crystal gem, which dispels all darkness and regen victorious. This is from entering the middle way, the first ground of generating the mind. So we just finished the reciting the first chapter. Now we remember the 10 chapters. First, the perfect joy. The second ground, the stainless. The third ground, luminous. Fourth ground, radiant. The fifth ground, hard to conquer. The sixth ground, the manifest. The seventh ground, gone affair. The eighth ground, the immovable. The ninth ground, perfect intellect. The 10th ground, cloud of Dharma. Then the quality of the 10 ground, the result in the Buddha's ground. Please remember the 10 grounds. Perry, I think you need to change the, ping point.
Geshe, the dedication prayer, is it?
No. Because in the center, I can see your name.
Huh? Oh, okay.
They must pin that. Okay, I click this. Okay, now, okay, yeah. Okay. So please remember at the beginning, there's a few outline. So right now we are studying the actual body of the text, actual body of the text. It has only two parts or two folds. What are they? They are the causal ground and the resultant ground. That means at the beginning, first Chandrakirti is going to explain from the seeing path all the way to the meditation path. That means those are they called the causal ground. Then the resultant ground mean the Buddha's bhumi, the Buddha step. There's two parts. The causal ground, it has three parts. First, how to practice the path according to this system in general. So we already studied, we discussed how, the path can be practiced according to the Pasangika. Then is mentioned three important treatises written by Nagarjuna. Precious Garland. The one is the Bridge to the Ultimate Expense. The last one, the component of the sutras. Actually, there are 6 or 7 treatises, particularly about the Madhya Marg, the middle way. Then among the 5, the Precious Garland is one of the treatises which is explained the both path, the profound and the vast. Then second is the ultimate bridge to the ultimate expense. Also this treatise is also explain the both path, the profound and the vast path. Then the last one, the component of the sutra, that means kind of a summary from the mini sutra. Then also Nagarjuna put all the practices in order. So in order to practice the path according to the Pasangika, first we need to cultivate the bodhicitta. Right? After we cultivated the bodhicitta, then we need to practice the 6 perfections. Then please remember the number of the 6 perfections, what are they? Then what is the benefit of practicing the 6 perfections for this life and next life and all the way to Buddhahood. And also in order to practice bodhicitta, we need to practice great compassion. Great compassion. In order to practice great compassion, then we need to remember recognizing all sentient beings as our dear mother, remember their great kindness, and wish to, repay their kindness, then generate the pure love, then compassion. After generated compassion, then you can generate bodhicitta based on the rest of the instruction or based on exchanging 7 other. This is the, Mahayana tradition, particularly Nagarjuna or Pasangika tradition. Therefore, at the beginning, how to practice the path according to this system in general, then practicing on the ordinary person stage in particular, that means great compassion, bodhicitta, then the gnosis or the wisdom which realizes emptiness. These 3 practices, they name ordinary path. So ordinary path means from the first, the practitioner who abide on the first two paths, we name is an ordinary practitioner. Then the first two paths, they are called ordinary path. When the practitioner realizes emptiness through direct perception, then we call, transcendent or extraordinary practitioner. Ordinary doesn't mean very simple practitioner. No, the practitioner who abide in the first two paths. Then number 3, presenting the ground of the Arya Bodhisattva. So today we start from the third outline, which is presenting the ground of the Arya Bodhisattvas. The third line has 3 parts. Presenting the 10 grounds collectively. Presenting the individual grounds. Presenting the quality of the 10 grounds. First, Chandrakirti will explain the 10 grounds together or collectively. Second, Nagarjuna explain individually each of the grounds. And last, Chandrakirti will explain the quality of attributes of the 10 grounds. Remember, there's 3. Presenting the 10 grounds collectively, presenting the individual grounds, the presenting the quality of the 10 grounds. First, presenting the 10 grounds collectively. So how in the Mahayana vehicle has a 10 ground? How? First, when you think about how Buddha turned with the wheel of Dharma, first Buddha turned the first wheel of Dharma. That time Buddha didn't teach like emptiness or bodhicitta, like a 10 bhumi. Mainly he taught, the general teaching. You can call, mainly the Hinayana vehicle or Hinayana Sutra or a common Sutra. That time, Buddha explained the 8 bhumi or 8 grounds for the Hinayan practitioner. 8 grounds. The second, when Buddha turned the wheel of Dharma, second time, then he taught particularly, the emptiness, great compassion, bodhicitta, then bhumi, the 10th bhumi. There's a particular sutra which is explained all the bhumi individually. Therefore, according to Hinayan vehicle, there are 8 grounds. 8 grounds. In the Mahayana vehicle or Mahayana tradition, there are 10 bhumi. The 10 bhumi Nagarjuna Chandrakirti explained based on the one of the sutra, which is the 10 ground sutra. So I'm just trying to give you a summary, right? 10 ground and the 8 grounds. Now we mainly study about the 10th bhumi or 10 grounds. Chandrakirti also based his presentation on the 10 ground sutra. Here the characterization of the 10 ground, such as perfect joy and the 10 awakening mind, must be understood in terms of the ultimate awakening mind. The commentary characterizes the nature of the 10 grounds as the ultimate awakening mind in the following. So here simply, if somebody asks you a question, the Bodhisattva who abide on the first bhumi, the Bodhisattva who abide on second bhumi, how we can differentiate? Because both, fully cultivated conventional bodhicitta, who fully realize emptiness through direct perception. So how we can differentiate, the first bhumi to second, second to third, third to fourth. So how we can differentiate among the, the 10 bhumis. That means we can differentiate the 10 bhumis in terms of the ultimate bodhicitta. Based on ultimate bodhicitta, then we can differentiate. Now, how we can differentiate? Now we go more detail here. When the uncontaminated gnosis of bodhisattvas, first the sentence, please say, when the uncontaminated gnosis of bodhisattvas, there's a one line. The second line is, which is sustained by compassion. This is the second line. The third one, very important, is divided in terms of its facet. Right? That means the ultimate bodhicitta, which is sustained or conjoined with the great compassion, is the ultimate bodhicitta. The ultimate bodhicitta going to divide into 10 different facets. Is divided in terms of its facets. It acquires the name ground. This is the third line. Then the fourth line is, it constitutes the locus of qualities. So this sentence is come from the commentary from the Chandrakirti. The first line, please remember, when the uncontaminated gnosis of bodhisattvas, which is sustained by compassion, and so on, is divided in terms of its facets. It acquires the name ground. For it constitute the locus of the qualities. Now you can see, explain more precisely in above. The grounds is explained through the four factors. Factor number one, its nature. Factor number two, what sustains in thoroughly. Factor number three, how is acquires the name ground. Fourth is the etymology of its names. Therefore, uncontaminated gnosis of bodhisattvas, which is sustained by compassion, these two lines explain the nature of the ultimate bodhicitta, which is sustained by great compassion. Then, why we name this 10 ultimate bodhicitta as a grown. Then the etymology. Among the four, the first is very, very important to know. Uncontaminated gnosis, the uncontaminated wisdom. Some explain, so we already discussed a little bit last time. Some explain the nature of uncontaminated gnosis using the definition found in Treasury of Abhidharma in terms of the not suitable for enhancing the contamination. So what is the meaning? What is the definition of the uncontaminated or uncontamination or uncontaminated? What's the meaning? Then somebody define the meaning according to the Abhidharma. Clear? The definition of uncontaminated. Somebody define according to Abhidharma. Then what Lama Tsongkhapa said here, this suggests a lack of understanding of the unique meaning of what is meant to be uncontaminated according to this system. So the person who defined the meaning of uncontaminated according to the Abhidharma, this means the person doesn't know the unique definition, the unique meaning of uncontaminated according to Pasangika. According to Abhidharma, the phenomena which is enhanced, right, which is cause to arise contamination. This is the meaning of contaminated phenomena. So this is, the wrong perception, the wrong idea, the meaning of uncontaminated. Then what is the meaning of uncontaminated? Our own position is this. That means our own mean according to the Pasangika tradition. From the perspective from the Pasangika, our own position is this. What is contaminated is tainted either by ignorance, grasping at the true existence, or by the imprints of the such as ignorance. What does mean contaminated according to Pasangika? Please remember this word is very important. Then in the future, you will know according to Pasangika, uncontaminated means this. Contaminated means this. What is the contaminated? Is tainted either by ignorance, particularly the grasping at the true existence, or tainted by the imprints of such as ignorance. That means the mind which is tainted by ignorance or by the imprints of the ignorance. Once more, what is the contaminated? Contaminated is tainted either by ignorance, grasping at the true existence, or by the imprints of the such as ignorance. The gnosis free of such as taint is the uncontaminated. This is as Sister Chandrakirti clear words. That means the wisdom which is tainted, right, which is contaminated by ignorance or the imprints of the ignorance. Then the wisdom, the gnosis, which is free from the ignorance or free from the imprints of the ignorance, right? The wisdom which is free from the ignorance or free from the imprints of the ignorance is the uncontaminated. The wisdom tainted or polluted, because it's simply the wisdom which is polluted by ignorance or polluted by the imprints of the ignorant is the contaminated. Contaminated means tainted by ignorance or tainted by the imprints of the ignorance. That means uncontaminated means the wisdom which is free from the ignorance or free from the imprints of the ignorant is the uncontaminated. Clear? Contaminated means tainted by ignorance or tainted by imprints of the ignorance. Uncontaminated means free from this, one of these two. Then there's a quotation, we just leave with the quotation. The next sentence, until the attainment of the Buddha's grown. Please remember, until the attainment of the Buddha's grown, the only mental state not tainted by imprints of the ignorance, is the non-conceptual gnosis of the any area in meditative equipoise. Please remember the sentence here. Until the attainment of the Buddha's grown, right? Until the attainment of the Buddha's grown, the only mental state not tainted by imprints of the ignorant is the conceptual gnosis of any areas in meditative equipoise. Until we become Buddha, doesn't matter you reach to first bhumi, second bhumi, doesn't matter. Until you become Buddha, there's only one wisdom which is uncontaminated, which is the wisdom. Ignorance is non-conceptual gnosis of any areas in meditative equipoise. Before you become Buddha, there's only one wisdom which is uncontaminated by the ignorance imprints of the ignorance. There's only one wisdom which is totally free from the imprints of ignorance, which is non-conceptual gnosis of any area, meditative equipoise. Any area means there are three areas: Bodhisattva area, Pratika Buddha area, and Sarvaka Buddha area. The area, when the three area, when they fully meditate on emptiness, when they are fully absorbed on emptiness, that time the wisdom is only free from the imprints of ignorance. Meditative equipoise, right? Free. Otherwise, any kinds of mind, even though conventional bodhicitta, is also always tainted by imprints of ignorance. Right? And then it's very scary. We feel very scared. Then another important next one. Such as gnosis comes about only intermittently. For when Aryas arise from their meditative equipoise, their mental state are once again tainted by the imprints of ignorance. Right? This means any of the three Arya, the Bodhisattva Arya, mean the practitioner is Bodhisattvas, also Arya. Then the practitioner is practice the Hinayan path, which is reached to the seeing or meditation or no more learning path. Then also the Pradika Buddha. Right? When they meditate on emptiness, then the gnosis, the wisdom which is meditated on emptiness, is free from the imprints of the ignorance, totally free. This wisdom is uncontaminated. When the Bodhisattva Arya, Sarvaka or Pradika Buddha, when they arise from the meditation equipoise, then the wisdom again tainted by imprints of ignorance. When they are meditating, the mind is free from the imprints of the ignorance. When they arise from meditation state, then the wisdom again become tainted. Mean sometimes is contaminated, sometimes is uncontaminated. Clear? When they fully meditate on emptiness, the Arya's mind, the wisdom is free from the imprints of ignorance. When they arise from meditation, the wisdom again tainted by imprints of ignorance. That means sometimes is contaminated, sometimes is become uncontaminated. Right? Contaminated by imprints of ignorance. Then second here, the taint of ignorance exists up until the seventh ground. The stain of ignorance is disappear for those on the eighth ground and up, as well as the two types of arhats. This I know is very bit difficult for you to understand. Still, I repeat a few times. I hope you will understand. According to Pasangika, what is the meaning of contaminated and uncontaminated? Right? According to Pasangika, contaminated mean any minds, the wisdom, compassion, bodhicitta, the five senses, the mind which is tainted by imprints of ignorance or tainted by ignorance, then the mind become contaminated. When the mind is free, totally free from the imprints of ignorance or free from the ignorance, then the mind become uncontaminated. Until we become Buddha, there's only one mind which can be uncontaminated. which is the Arhat, the Bodhisattva Arya, when they meditate on emptiness. Then when they meditate on emptiness, the gnosis or the wisdom is uncontaminated because it is free from the imprints of the ignorance. It is free from the ignorance. Right? When the Arhat, when the Arya arises from meditation state, then the wisdom again became contaminated. Therefore, intermittently, right? Such as gnosis come about only intermittently, may sometimes contaminated, sometimes become uncontaminated. Right? There's a two way can be contaminated. One by the ignorance, one by the imprints of ignorance. So the wisdom can be contaminated by ignorance up to 7 bhumi. Clear? The wisdom can be tainted by ignorance up to until 7 bhumi. Until 7 bhumi, the wisdom can be tainted by ignorance, can be tainted by imprints of ignorance. Since 8 bhumi, the wisdom cannot tainted by ignorance because the ignorance ceases at the 7 bhumi. Since at the wisdom never be tainted by ignorance, still can be tainted by imprints of ignorance. This according to Bodhisattva Arya. Second, the Hinaya practitioner, the Hinaya Arya, right? Hinaya Arya, also until they become Arhat, their wisdom sometimes tainted by the ignorance or tainted by imprints of ignorance. When they became Arhat, when they achieve liberation, then the Arhat, the mind is totally free from ignorance, also free from the imprints of the ignorance. Right? Free from the ignorance, because when they achieve liberation, they cease ignorance, no more ignorance. Since the polluting ignorance has ceased, but they still possess the tense in form of residual imprints of the ignorance. So today, first I try to explain to you what does mean contaminated and uncontaminated according to Pasangika. According to Pasangika, until we become Buddha, there's only one mind which is uncontaminated, which is the Arya. When they meditate on emptiness, that time, I said that time, the wisdom, the gnosis is uncontaminated. Because that time, the wisdom is totally free from the ignorance, cannot be tainted by ignorance, cannot be tainted by the imprints of ignorance. When the Arya arose from meditation state, then the wisdom again become contaminated. Sometimes uncontaminated, sometimes contaminated. Can be contaminated by ignorance, until up to 7 bhumi. 7 bhumi. Since at bhumi, the wisdom, the gnosis never be contaminated, never be tainted by ignorance, because the bodhisattva, when they reach to the at bhumi, they already cease the ignorance. That ignorance cannot be tainted for the wisdom. Still the wisdom can be tainted by imprints of the ignorance until up to become a Buddha. Right? So since today, when you see contaminated or uncontaminated, you need to think, is according to Pasangika or according to the Abhidharma tradition or according to Abhidharma thetis. You need to think. Therefore, most of the time when you read the Chandrakirti thetis, Nagarjuna thetis, or Buddha Palita, Shantideva, for them, contaminated means tainted by ignorance or tainted by imprints of ignorance. So when you read other texts, like according to Chitta Mantra, according to the first two school, for them, contaminated, uncontaminated is stable to enhance the contamination. What does it mean stable to enhance the contamination? For example, foam. When we look at foam, our attachment increase, our desire increase, enhance our attachment, enhance our desire. When we listen the music, like form, sound, smell, taste, all the conditioned phenomena except the truth path. I'm talking about according to the Abhidharma tradition, Abhidharma thetis. There's all the conditioned phenomena you just put one side. Among all conditioned phenomena, there's only one phenomena which is uncontaminated, which is the truth path. The truth path is only the uncontaminated. The rest of the conditioned phenomena are contaminated. Only the truth path is uncontaminated among the conditioned phenomena. Among the unconditioned phenomena, the cessation and the space are uncontaminated. Because when you look at sky, no attachment, no desire, is nothing, right? It doesn't enhance our desire, our attachment, our anger. It doesn't cause to arouse anger and attachment. Therefore, the space, the cessation are the uncontaminated among the unconditioned phenomena. Okay, this is, I'll just let you know. Next we move. Then, when the Arhat meditated on emptiness for long time, the wisdom which realizes emptiness can be purified. The negative thoughts, not going to purify the mind, right? Mind. That means when you meditate on emptiness, anger, attachment, ego, everything going to disappear, but not the mind itself. Then there's an analogy. Ancient time, there's a cloth. I think the chain mill hormone mean, I think ancient time they know how to make particular kind of hormone, the protection cloths made by kind of stone. or change. And the person used to wear the stone clothes, the clothes which is made of stone, or the person who wear the clothes which is made of like a change. Then how they wash? They just burn off the clothes on the fire. Then the fire can burn only the skin, not the cloth itself. Right? Same way, when the practitioner meditate on emptiness, through practicing emptiness can eliminate only the negative thoughts, the negative parts, not the mind itself. This one we need to discuss today. Then next, the phrase from the commentary is said, is divided in terms of its facet. That means ultimate bodhicitta need to divide into 10 parts, because we need to differentiate the 10 bhumi or 10 grounds. All grounds is ultimate, based on ultimate bodhicitta, but we need to know how to differentiate. Right? That's why here mentioned here. From the commentary cited above, when divided in terms of its facet, means that it is one and same uncontaminated gnosis, which is the whole. That means the first bhumi or second bhumi, third bhumi, all the bhumis are ultimate bodhicitta. Ultimate bodhicitta. Therefore, ultimate bodhicitta is as a whole. Then the ultimate bodhicitta divided into 10. Ultimate bodhicitta, we can say this ultimate bodhicitta, first bhumi, this ultimate bodhicitta is second bhumi. They are same in ultimate bodhicitta. Still, we need to know how to differentiate. Right? Therefore, here, when divided it in terms of its facet, means that it is one and same uncontaminated gnosis, which is the whole. That is being differentiated in terms of the stage with earlier and later parts become the individual facet. They are referred to the ground because they serve as a locus. Therefore, the 10 bhumi we name bhumi, because the 10 ground become kind of cause to generate the quality. Right? There's a locus. A basis for the bodhisattva's quality. They resemble the ground in the sense that means the nature is the 10 bhumis are the uncontaminated wisdom. This is the nature. All the 10 bhumis thoroughly sustained by compassion. Then the only ultimate bodhicitta we can divide into 10s. They become 10 bhumis. All the ultimate bodhicitta we name bhumi because it serves as a cultivating, generating the quality of the bhumis. Right? There's a 4. Nature, sustain, locus, and epistemology. Now, another important here, before we start the first bhumi. Although they are all, that means all the 10 like a bodhicitta or 10 bhumi, although they are all equal in being non-conceptual gnosis, The manner in which the grown such as perfect joy are defined as a distinct grown as by the means of the following four features. Mean the first bhumi, second bhumi, all bhumis are, equal in being non-conceptual gnosis. Equally, all of them is non-conceptual mind, equally uncontaminated, but still we need to differentiate between all the 10 bhumis. How we can differentiate? Then here, perfect joy are defined as distinct grown is by means of the following four features. Four features. That means four attributes. That means each bhumi has a very unique four features. Four features, right? What are the four features? If you don't have a text, just remember, don't worry, you just give a note. The first distinctive feature arises on the basis of progressive increase increment in the number of quality. On the basis of progressive increment in the number of quality. That means first bhumi, second bhumi has a different quality. For example, the bodhisattva who abide in the first bhumi, they have a one unique quality. Therefore, one is the quality, number of quality. Such that exists the set of the 12 qualities, 100-fold, first ground, and set of this. A second distinctive feature fitting to be ever increasing enhancement of the excellent power. That means, number one, quality. Number two is power. Number three is excellent with the respect to the perfections. Number four, being born as a monarch at the region over the four continents. First feature is progressive increasement. Feature number two, increasing enhancement of the excellent power. Feature number three is the feature of excellent with the respect to the perfection. Four is being born as a monarch, the region over the earth. Therefore, first bhumi has a very unique quality, unique power, then very unique, very excellent respect to the one of the perfection. Then the last one, the feature of born as a monarch, mean the practitioner, the bodhisattva who are already above in the first bhumi, he can take a kind of rebirth. He can take a birth for only this world, not other continents. Then the bodhisattva who reached to the second bhumi, he can take rebirth with the four continents. Right? Therefore, quality feature, power feature, then excellent feature, then being born as a monarch, mean like a king. So please remember, each of the bhumi has a very distinctive four features. Feature number one, qualities. Progressive, increasing in the number of qualities. Number two, increasing enhancements of the excellent power. 3 is the feature of excellence with respect to the perfections. 4 is being born as a monarch. Those are the 4 features. Therefore, all the bodhisattva who are above the first, second, third, 4, or 10 bhumi, everybody equally realize emptiness directly. Everybody has equally the contaminated or uncontaminated wisdom. How we can differentiate first bhumi with the second bhumi with the third bhumi? That means first bhumi has a very unique, progressive, increasing quality and power, then excellent in one of the perfections, then being born in the monarch. Then the practitioner, the bodhisattva who abode in the first bhumi, he or she can take a rebirth. He can reincarnate only the world, this world, not other continent. The bodhisattva who reached to the second bhumi, he can reincarnate, he can take a rebirth for the 4 continents. Then more and more increasing in everything, the quality going to increase, the power going to increase, and they become excellent into first bhumi, excellent in the generosity. Second bhumi can be excellent in the ethical discipline. Right? This is how we know how to distinguish. Now finally we will start the first bhumi. First ground, the joy, perfect joy. Presenting the individual grounds, it has 3 parts. Right? The individual mean first explaining the first 5 grounds mean first to and from first to fifth. Explaining the first 5 ground. Second, explaining the 6th ground, which is manifest. Third, explaining the remaining for the grounds. Right? That means first, Chandrakirti going to explain from first ground to the 5th. Then particularly 6. Then 7, 8, 9, and 10. Rest of the ground. Remaining grounds. Now we study the first one. First, there's 5 grounds. The first 5-fold, first ground, perfect joy. The second ground, stillness. Third ground, luminous. Fourth ground, radiant. Fifth ground, hard to conquer. Now we study from first to 5th, then 6, then 7, then the rest of the 3, right? 7, 8, 9, 10. That means the causal ground. The first ground is perfect joy. It has again 3 parts. Brief definition of the grounds. The brief definition of the ground, an extensive presentation of the qualities, the attributes, then conclusion, starting the quality of the ground. This can be same for rest of the ground. First, brief definition of the ground. Brief definition of the ground, first bhumi. Second, extensive presentation. Third, conclusion. Also, second bhumi, brief definition of the second bhumi. then extensive explanation, extensive presentation, then conclusion. It is same for the rest of the Bhumi. Now definition, right? First Bhumi, which is the joy, perfect joy. Definition. The root text here, maybe little bit. Stanza number from the root text, the first chapter, then first chapter, 4 stanza, then the last 2 lines. The Bodhisattva's mind falls under compassion's away, yearning to set free ever transmigrating beings. That the Bodhisattva mind falls under compassion's away, yearning to set free every transmigrating beings. Through the intense dedication with the Samanta Bhadra prayers, he abides in the perfect joy. This is called the first ground. This is called first ground, right? This stanza is stanza for brief definition of the first Bhumi. Definition, right? Brief definition of the ground, the basis. The Bodhisattva's mind falls under compassion's survey, yearning to set free every transmigrating being. Through intense dedication with the Samanta Bhadra's prayer, he abides in the perfect joy. This is called the first ground. The brief definition. The Bodhisattva was on the first ground has since been to be devoid of intense existence, and he taken the absence of intense existence to qualify his object of compassion. In the manner described earlier, his mind falls under the great compassion survey, yearning to set free every transmigrating being. All on the ground, they bear the name of the perfect joy about through the intense dedication of all his virtues with the Bodhisattvas. What does mean here? Simply, the Bodhisattva, first time when he or she reached to the seeing path, right? The third path, which is seeing path, reaching to seeing path, became ultimate Bodhisattva. Reached to the first Bhumi are simultaneous. Reached the seeing paths, realizing emptiness through the direct perception, reached to the first Bhumi are, simultaneous. Then, when he reached to the first Bhumi, seeing path, he fully realized emptiness through direct perception. Then also he can see all sentient beings totally devoid or totally empty of intrinsic existence. Right? Therefore, he doesn't have any sense of attachment towards anybody, but he has a great compassion. Great compassion. Due to the great compassion, then the Bodhisattva, he or she, does a lot of prayers, a lot of dedication, millions of billions of dedication. For example, you have a great motivation to save all sentient beings. For example, you have great motivation to save all sentient beings, but you are not sure yet to can save or cannot save, but you have the great motivation. When you fully knew, you can save all sentient beings, right? Then you will do whatever you can to save all sentient beings. Therefore, he can see there are so many sentient beings are sick. He did dedication, he does dedication. Free all the sickness being from illness. He make a dedication, free all sentient beings sickness. He can see there are so many sentient beings has a poverty, no enough food and clothes. He does dedication to free all this sentient being from poverty. So he or she does a lot of dedications because of the great compassion, because he can ensure he can save all sentient being from suffering or samsara. Therefore, he or she does millions of dedication. Must remember dedication. Particularly, there's a 10 dedication, Badara prayers. This ultimate awakening mind of the Bodhisattva who thoroughly abide in such as non-dual gnosis, which is illustrated by fruits such as number of qualities known as a first supermundane mind. The countless hundreds of thousands of aspirational prayers made by the Bodhisattvas on the first ground. Therefore, hundreds of thousands of aspirational prayer, does when he reached to the first ground. Such as the 10 great aspirational prayers mentioned in the 10 ground sutra are all, doesn't matter how many, aspirational prayer you do, how many dedication you do, all the aspirational prayers, dedication, everything include or encompassed in the Samantha Bhadra prayers. To indicate all aspirational prayers, the root text mentioned the Samantha Bhadra prayer, which is referred to the vow of the good conduct, in particularly condemned. Therefore, I send you, the fourth stanza, which is compass, conclude all the prayers, all the aspirational prayers, all the dedications. Therefore, is a Samantha Bhadra prayers. Describe the two stanzas that's being with the wood, just as the heroic Manjushri in the prayers, the excellent dedication. Therefore, please you forward, the prayers. I send you the picture. There's a two stanzas. Yeah. First, right? May I attend by imitating the example of the Manjushri. These four, the 8 lines, the two stanzas is very important. Dedication prayers, also aspirational prayers. All the aspirational prayers, all the dedication is included in these two stanzas. Therefore, every day at the ending of your daily practice, daily prayers, you can recite these stanzas. Also, any of you can try, make it more nice, then you can share with our friends. Therefore, the first feature is definition, right? Brief definition of the grounds. Now, I hope you know the stanza. Now we move the next part. The extensive presentation of the quality that attributes the extensive presentation, it has three parts. Number one, the quality that beautify the Bodhisattva's own mental continuum. Number two, the qualities that outshine others' mental continuum. The quality that come to be superior on the first ground. Please remember the first three parts. Quality that beautifying their Bodhisattva's own mental continuum. Quality that outshine other mental qualities, other mental continuum. Third, quality that come to be superior on the first ground. The quality that beautify the Bodhisattva's own mind continuum is two parts. Describing the individual quality separately and presenting the qualities together in summary. Describing the individual qualities separately, it has three parts. The quality of the obtaining meaningful title. The qualities such as being born in the lineage. The three qualities such as stepping on the higher ground. First, the quality of the obtaining the meaningful title, right? Bodhisattva. First, brief definition. Now, the quality of the obtaining the meaningful title. The root text here. From that point on, have attained this ground. He is held by the name Bodhisattva alone. From that point on, having attained this ground, he is held by the name of the Bodhisattva. Therefore, Bodhisattva, first time he or she reached to the first bhumi, then their name can be Bodhisattva, mean ultimate Bodhisattva. Right? Therefore, he said, the quality of the obtaining the meaningful title, meaningful name, which is ultimate bodhicitta, because he or she achieved the ultimate bodhicitta. From that point on, the Bodhisattva, having entered the first ground, has attained the ultimate awakening mind. At this time, when he has transcended the stage of the ordinary person, he is held by the name ultimate Bodhisattva alone. Transcend, right? He transcended the stage of the ordinary person. That means when he reached to the first bhumi, he reached the first bhumi, reached the seeing path, realizing emptiness through the direct perception, and held the name of ultimate Bodhisattva. That means one of the quality. And also he totally transcended the stage of the ordinary person. That means the meaningful quality of obtaining the meaningful title. The root text is, from that point on, having attained this ground, he is held by the name of the Bodhisattva alone, means name of the ultimate Bodhisattva. Right? That means one of the quality. The second quality is for the quality such as being born in the lineage. lineage. Since he or she reached to the first grown, then he or she born on the lineage of the Tathagata. The root text again, he is born into the lineage of the Tathagata as well. He has utterly approached the three bonding factors. Such as bodhisattvas uphold the state of the supreme joy. And he has the power to shake the 100 walls. That is talking about, again, 4 qualities. Qualities of such as being in the lineage. He has utterly approached the 3 bonding factors, such as bodhisattva uphold the state of supreme joy and has the power to shake the 100 walls. First, we study about the born into the lineage of the Tathagata. What is the root text? He is born into the lineage of the Tathagata as well. That means, since he reached to the seeing path, he or she became lineage of the Tathagata. He or she becomes son of the Tathagata. Lineage or son of the Tathagata is same meaning. And why, before the seeing path, he or she wasn't the lineage? Since reached to the seeing path, then why he or she became the lineage of the Tathagata? Why he or she became the son or daughter of the Tathagata? Why? Before seeing path, we never name they are the lineage of the Tathagata. Since the seeing path, we say he or she became the lineage of the Tathagata. Why? Then the reason here, furthermore, this bodhisattva who abide on the first ground, because he has gone well beyond all the groans of the ordinary person, right? He has gone well beyond all the groans of as ordinary person as well. As those Sarvakas, Pradika Buddha, and because the path that certain to lead to the grounds of the Buddhahood has arisen within the mental continuum, is born into the lineage of the Tathagata as well. That means, since he or she reached to the seeing path, then he or she became lineage of Tathagata. Means, since seeing path, then the person is 100% sure the person can become a Buddha. Before seeing paths, he or she cultivated bodhicitta, realized emptiness, but isn't sure he or she become Buddha or not. Since seeing path, then 100% sure, he or she will become Buddha. Before seeing path, there's a dangers to fall into the Hinayana path, because he or she haven't realized emptiness directly, right? Since seeing the emptiness directly, then he or she become lineage of the Buddha, because he or she 100% sure they are not going to fall into the Hinayana path. He will, become a Buddha without having any kind of, obstacle. Therefore, the lineage of the Buddha. No longer embarking on the other path. His lineage is conformed with his own path. Since on the first ground, he directly perceived the self-lineage of person the person lack existence of the virtues of his own character. The second line is, he has utterly approached the three bonding factors. Since seeing path, he or she totally abandoned the three bonding factors. He has utterly approached the three bonding factors. Then what are the three bonding factors? Number one, the identity view. Number two, the tendency to doubt. Number three, the grasping at false view as a supreme. Grasping at false view as supreme. And inferior discipline and conduct as superior. These are the three bonding. Simply, the negative doubts and identity view. Then the last one, the wrong view. Actually, it is wrong view. The person believes is a right view. Actually, the discipline is totally falsy one. The person thought it is this discipline is a superior. These are the three bonding factors. Once more, identity view, the tendency to the doubt, the grasping at false view as a supreme, and the inferior discipline and the conducts as superior. These are the three bonding factors. That there will no longer arise for him, this indicates that these seeds have been relinquished, and that the identity view referred to here is the acquired kind, which is object of elimination of the path of seeing, not the innate one. That means, because I'm not sure, there's two kinds of ignorance, right? One is the innate, mean everybody has the innate ignorance. The second, because it's superficial or influenced by other tenets. That means ignorance, everybody has. This ignorance we call the innate ignorance. There's another ignorance which exists only the person who follow the tenets, who follow maybe different kinds of religion. There's been two kinds of ignorance. One is innate, one is artificial kinds of ignorance. So among the three bonding factors, you're talking about the artificial, not the innate grasping. Then there's a question. Who made us, given that he had rid himself of other negative tendencies, as well as tendencies that are object of the elimination by part of the saying, why are only these three mentioned? Okay, here I think I give you a very simple explanation. We have 5 paths, right? In the Mahayana, there are 5 paths. In the Hinayana, there's 5 paths. The name is same. Based on the Mahayana paths, the first path is a path of the accumulation, right? The path of accumulation. Tibetan called Tsoknam. Accumulate mean, preparing, putting all the conditions together to generate the path, accumulation. mainly bodhicitta. So first time, when we try to enter into the first path, which is a part of the accumulation, what we need to practice? We need to practice bodhicitta. Through practicing bodhicitta, we eliminate self-centered attitude, self-cherishing. The self-centered attitude, the self-cherishing are the object of the elimination of the accumulation path. The second path is the path of the preparation. Prepare for realizing emptiness through direct perception. Right? Then there are 4 paths. Right? The heat, then G, P-I-K, the balance, then I think superior, there's the 4 paths. Simply, during the practicing accumulation preparation path, the practitioner try to eliminate the imaginary of the emptiness, because donji. Right? That means each path has their own kind of elimination. Accumulation paths eliminates the self-centered attitude or self-grasping, self-cherishing. During the preparation paths, he or she eliminates, purified the mental, the imaginary of the emptiness. Then the seeing path. When the person reaches the seeing path, through the seeing path, he or she eliminates all the elimination of the seeing path. There's so many, but among the many, here only mentioned the 3 bonding factors. Why? Then the answer is here. One made us, giving that he has rid himself of the other negative tendencies as well. Tendencies that are object of the elimination of the seeing, object of the elimination of the part of the seeing. Why are only these 3 mentioned? Then reply. There appear to be 2 opinions. That means there's 2 answers. Answer from based on there's 2 opinions about why only the 3 bonding mentioned, not other. There appear to be 2 opinions on the interpretation of intent of this statement of the sutra. Of these 2, the better one is this. The better one is the one presented in the treasury of Abhidharma. Then there's a quotation from Abhidharma by, I think, Asanga, right? Yin. What is the younger brother of the Asanga? Yin, right? Tibetan for Yin in Sanskrit.
Is it Vasubantu?
Vasubantu. Yin. I think so. Let's see. Treasury, right? It's very important here. Not wanting to go, choosing the wrong path, and harboring doubts about the paths. This obstruct the journey to the liberation. Therefore, these 3 are started. First, no wanting to go. Second, choosing the wrong path. Third, harboring the doubts about the paths. That means, for example, when you are very sick, first, you don't want to go to see a doctor, not wanting to go see a doctor. How you can be cured. Second, you really wanted to see doctor, but you chose the wrong doctor. How you can cure? You wanted to go to see doctor, you choose the right doctor, but you are very much doubt about the medicine, about the doctor, how you can be cured, right? This is the analogy. In practice, in our daily practice, first, we fully attach, we fully, grasp self as I as a self. Therefore, we attach with the samsara, we attach with this life. Then how we can achieve liberation? Second, we don't have a strong attachment with the self, with the possession, but we really, wish to free from samsara, but we choose the wrong path. Then how we can be free from samsara? First, we don't have any attachment, we don't have a self-grasping, we choose the right paths, but we have a lot of doubts about the path, about the practice, whatever. Then how we can be liberated. Therefore, these three things are very great obstacle for achieving liberation, for entering into the path, for achieving Buddhahood. Therefore, these three mentioned very particularly, during the first Bhumi. This is the first quality is the quality of the obtaining the meaningful title. The second qualities, there are actually four. Right? Four qualities such as being born in the lineage, utterly approach the three bonding factor, such as Bodhisattva uphold the state of the supreme joy, and it has the power to shake the 100 walls. Now we study about the third line. Before that, I think we finish the first sentence one. For someone who wishes to travel to other place, for example, there are three main obstacles: not wanting to go, choosing the wrong road, and the harboring doubts about one's road. The journey to liberation similarly has three principal obstacles. Due to the first identity view, one comes to fear liberation and does not want to travel there. Due to the third, grasping as a false view and false morality superior, one relies on the contrary path and chose the wrong path. Due to the second, afflicted doubts, one harbor doubt about the path. That means three is mentioned very clearly, right? The next one, such as bodhisattvas, uphold the state of supreme joy. The bodhisattvas on the first ground, having entered conform lineage described above, obtaining quality that result from this and become the free from the false that are eliminated by the this ground, as such as unique joy arises within him, and because he experienced abundance of the perfect joy, such as Bodhisattva uphold the state that constitute supreme joy process. That means now you can see, why he or she has such a great joy. First, he become lineage of Tathagata. I mean, he's sure now I no need to worry, I will be Buddha. So joy. Second, he knew since today I cannot be born in the lower realms because I fully control the kind of the negative thoughts. Not born in the lower realm due to the karma. Therefore, it's so joyful. Therefore, uphold the joy state. And the last one, he has the power to shake 100 different walls. So today we can stop here. Next, we start from the three qualities, stepping on the highest ground. The next, we just follow the root text, the little bit of commentary from the commentary, they go more faster. Until now, because there are so many things we need to study, we need to know. For example, contaminated, uncontaminated. So how we can differentiate between the 10 bhumis, first to second, second, third. Then remember the 4 distinctive features of each of the grounds. Then since you start the first ground, there's a much easy. And also, last we take a lot of time to study the title of the entering the middle way. Entering where? There's a lot of confusion. Okay, so now it's 4:46. I think we can must have a Q&A. Also, if I need to clarify, need more detail, just feel free and ask question. Let me know. Please let me know. No question?
Geshe Lobsang, there's a question. Geshe Lobsang, can you please give the definition of unwavering karma, which throws sentient being into the form or formless realm? Thank you.
First, I think it's a non-virtuous karma. Is resolve can be lower realms. Then the virtues generally in the higher realms. Then there's a virtues as a non-virtuous, virtues unwavering. Miyovele, we Tibetan call it miyovele. So for example, this moment, if you do some recitation, prostration, Lord offering, meditation, you can, we can accumulate merit, virtues. Based on these virtues, we cannot be, born into form and formless realms. In order to born in, like form and formless realm, we need to accumulate merit very different ways. Therefore, first, we need to achieve the shamatha, right? Then based on shamatha, then the person can accumulate merit to born into form or formless jobs. This is unwavering means since you accumulate merit, this merit 100% you can born into form and formless realms. The general, for example, I accumulate positive action, then I died, I'm in the intermediate state. Until the intermediate state, I born as an intermediate state due to my positive karma. From the intermediate state, the direction can be changed. Maybe due to different condition, I can be born into lower realms. Also, same way, somebody due to the negative karma, the person is the intermediate state. The next, the person almost ready to go to lower realms. But due to the different condition, also it can be changed the direction from there. Instead of taking rebirth in lower realm, the person can be born into a higher realms like human. But the karma which we have accumulated through the karma burden, when the karma is repent to born into form formless, it cannot be changed. Therefore, unwavering. So due to this explanation, it is very important. For example, I think some of our Dharma friend, father passed away this afternoon, for example. He passed away. Maybe he's still wandering around the family. Maybe he already in the intermediate state. Let's say intermediate state due to the negative karma. Then next few minutes or few days, few weeks, or the person take rebirth into lower realms. In between, if we do a lot of dedication, we do a lot of aspiration, a lot of prayers, then the person direction can be changed. Right? So the karma which is we have accumulated to born into formless is kind of fixed. We cannot change. Therefore, unwavering karma. Tibetan we call miyovele. Yeah. Migevele, non-virtues. Gevele, virtues. Miyovele, unwavering karma. Yes. Any question?
So far, there's none on the chat window.
Okay.
Dharma brothers and sisters, do you have any questions? Maybe I just allowed you to unmute yourself, okay, and you can post the questions to Geshe directly. Yeah, thanks.
Geshe, just now you mentioned there are two ignorance. One is innate and one is superficial. Can you explain a little bit more about the superficial ignorance?
I think it's the close one. We can so exaggerated ignorance. Exaggerate ignorance. We Tibetan we call kunta. Exaggerate. First, we really need to think, our life. When we were born, we didn't have any religion, no culture. We were just simple baby. And when we grow up, then our parents, teach us so many things like karma, next life, previous life. Or some parents, there's no next life, there's no karma. Then different people has a different kind of influence from parents, from religion. For example, according to Buddhist tradition, according to Buddha teaching, all the Buddhists believe there's no, kind of independent self, independent I, independent me. We don't have. But due to the non-Buddhist tenets, let's say, somehow you met a Hindu master, Then the Hindu master teach you of, soul, independent self. Then slowly you tend to believe in the independent soul, independent I. Then you have the grasping, the I, independent self. This grasping, the mind, we can call exaggerated ignorance or artificial ignorance. We were not born with this kind of ignorance. Clear? That means you have an ignorance. You are not born with this ignorance. This ignorance comes later due to the teacher, due to the religion, due to the culture. That we call artificial, exaggerated. Yeah, here's an Aquarius. I'm not sure the meaning here. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Geshe.
But clear?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, all of you. Today is Saturday. Still, you attend the class. I know its topic is not easy. Still, you please don't give up. Slowly you try to understand. Number one. Number two, most important. The most important one. Until now, we all are look like shepherd. Like shepherd who look after the sheep, like shepherd, right? In the ancient time, the shepherd who look after the sheep, he or she actually doesn't have a sheep. When in the morning, go with the sheep, he or she has a few thousand sheep. Need to take care. He can count, okay, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 100, 200, 300, 1,000. So many sheep. In the evening, when he came back to his own home, he or she doesn't have any kind of sheep, right? So until today, we all like a shepherd. We know the definition of great compassion, bodhicitta, emptiness, first bhumi, second. We learn so many things. When you analyze yourself, when we analyze ourselves, first, do we have a really pure, like a refuge mind, which is from depth of our heart? Do we really take refuge to Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, or not? We are us, when you analyze, so difficult to say, I have a pure, attack refuge. Second, we know the definition of great compassion. When you analyze, do I have a compassion? Do I have a great compassion? Then there's no great compassion, but we know the meaning. Also, when we think about bodhicitta, almost everybody know the definition, the meaning of bodhicitta. When we analyze upon us, upon myself, upon yourself, then we notice, I don't have a great compassion, I don't have a bodhicitta, I don't have a renunciation, right? So we should not be like that. We study about refuge, taking refuge, we must have the refuge mind. We study great compassion, we must have a great compassion. We study bodhicitta, we try to help, we try to be bodhisattva this lifetime. This life is the only life we have. If we lost this opportunity, then almost forever we don't have any opportunity to generate bodhicitta, great compassion. Therefore, we should not be like a shepherd. We should be like owner of the animals. We can count the animals. We have the animals. Right? Please, everybody, must seriously practice great compassion, bodhicitta, patience, forgiveness. Try to have an experience about all the teachings. Thank you so much at the end. So during our class, we have accumulated great amount of merits. First, at the beginning, we generated great motivation for becoming Buddha through practicing the true bodhicitta. Then we read the root text, the first chapter. Then we discuss about all the definition of meaning. So we have accumulated merit, virtues, all the merit and virtue. First, we dedicate ourselves becoming Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Second, we dedicate the merit to benefit all sentient beings. Particularly, the family, the groups, individuals who totally desperate with the different problems, wish them free from all kinds of problems and sufferings. Last, we dedicate the merit for world peace. So we can recite the two stanzas from the Samantabhadra prayers. Jamba Bhavya Jida Yambadam Gundo Zambo Deyan Dejen Zoda Lojen Gewan Dida Damjara Chaze Wadan Chujen Shebadan Jezo Yiran Gulien Zoa Gewa Junze Dagi Jizab Tamje Zobe Janjo Chenbo